All right, so I've had a ewe that has prolapsed a few times. I looked up, there are prolapse harnesses, prolapse spoons and stuff, and I don't have one. And I need her to keep everything inside. So I went ahead and I looked up, old farmer tricks, and they said to use rope. I don't have any rope thicker, so we'll see if this works, but I took and wrapped it around her midsection, or right behind her shoulders, and you tie a knot like halfway from tail to shoulders, and then you tie a knot above the tail, and then you come under and you cross by the vulva, and that helps keep everything in. And so we will see if this holds or if I need to get a bigger rope or anything like that. But and they're supposed to be able to lamb and do everything they need to do with this. So you can see it comes up and crosses underneath her vulva. And I'm using the bag and her little armpit here between the bag and her leg to keep it sturdy. But we'll see if this works. I'll keep everyone posted. So she's cleaned up and got her little rope on. She's not very happy, but gotta do what we gotta do. And she can still move. She's gonna, probably be humped up a little because it feels weird. But overall, yeah, she seems like she'll be able to move around fine with that on. So there's our little makeshift prolapse harness. This ewe had a vaginal prolapse starting about 2 weeks out from her lambing, and she had one ram lamb. She's a first freshener, and you can see she is swollen, but it looks a lot better than it did. It was very traumatic. I rigged up a prolapse harness and tried to keep her prolapse in, and luckily I was able to kind of catch when she went into labor to help pull, because there was no way she was gonna have that little guy by herself. So I had to pull him, and it was very tragic for her. But this is kind of our maternity ward, with her being a first freshener and such a tragic and traumatic birthing experience. She really didn't want him. She wasn't being mean to him, but she didn't want him. So I pinned her up in a small pen, and so far so good. She lets him nurse decently. Right now she's a little stressed, but you can see she'll stand for him. He likes to kind of nurse from the backside, which is why his head's so dirty from her leaking. So she is healing, she's doing well, and she's at least nursing him. That's what we want to see, just because I don't want another bottle baby. And then we also have another ewe back there. That one was just for company because they don't like to be alone. And then we had this first timer, and she had twins. She just really didn't know what she was doing, and I didn't want anyone to interfere with her trying to bond with her baby. So she's been pinned up, and she's doing really good. Her twins are a bit smaller, but overall doing really well. She's letting him nurse, and so this is just the maternity ward of lambs. Not my favorite experience, but we're doing what we have to do. And yeah, you can see that little girl back there. She's the one with the more white and red, and then the little boy's black and white. Then the rest of these are all boys. So overall, it's working out. No bottle babies so far. There is our newest lamb. It's a little boy. I was really expecting twins because she was so big, but she's a meteor crossbred ewe. So she holds weight phenomenally, and she's a good mom. It's her second time. She's out of my favorite sheep, Gertrude, which is right here, eating hay. And so far, we've had, I think, like 10 babies born. I'd have to go back and count. But so 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, and then maybe 9. So maybe 9 or 10. And so most of them have been boys, unfortunately. But anything is good. We're just glad to have good babies. That one was brand new this morning, so following mom, doing good. We've got one more ewe that should be popping any day now. Not Gertie. I don't know where she is. She's kind of a brown. Her bag's tight, and she is just ready to blow. Jelly Bean's here just because she would get in the way, and she likes being with the sheep more because they're nicer to her than the goats are. So that's Jelly Bean. And yeah, there's some more babies. They're having fun. Lots of red ones though. Or brown. I don't know what color that would be considered. But that's the newest, guys. Okay, I found, she's the one that's ready to kind of blow. She's kind of, okay, step right in the way. Got a big old bag. Poochie on the back side, so should have lambs for too long from her. And then we'll have a break, and then we will have more. Oh, Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean. She's over it. So most of these ewes we got from an older gentleman not far from us. So a lot of these are registered with the Painted Sheep Association or Society. So we had an original plan of growing out some rams and kind of selling some bighorns, some really flashy sheep. But we are starting to rotate to a thicker, more meatier sheep with either crossbreeding them or adding a different kind of ram over them to get some meatier lambs on the ground. That includes like just any kind of bigger boned hair sheep. We don't want anything that we're gonna have to shear. The biggest thing here is ease of care. So we have them at home and we can really monitor what's going on with these sheep, as well as management practices with them. We want to be able to feed them what we want to feed them and see how they're going to grow on what we provide, whether it be a certain kind of hay, whatever feed we may be feeding these sheep. So that's the biggest thing with what we're starting to do. We're going to keep back some of these ewes, whether they're registered or not, and maybe crossbreed them to a bigger ram, bigger, meatier ram that's younger, so it doesn't overweigh them where it's too big of a ram over these ewes. So that's kind of where we're pivoting to now. You know, you get into things and you have an idea of what you want to do, and then over time, as you start it, you decide maybe that's not what I want to do, and the only way you can know is by doing it. And that's kind of where we've gone with this. We love our ram right here. You see him, he's beautiful, big horns, but he's just not as big as what we would like body wise. So that's where we're pivoting to, and we're really excited to see where these go. Some of these ewes will be for sale if anyone wants to add some Painted Deserts, registered Painted Deserts to their herd. But for us, it's just not where we've wanted to move on to. Nothing wrong with them. Of course, like we said, the Prolapse girl, anyone that's had issues, which she's the only one that we've had an issue with, thankfully. She's the only one that's going to be going straight to market, just because that's not something we would want, and we wouldn't know until she got bred and was close to lambing that she was going to prolapse. So with that being said, she will go to the sale barn and she will become meat, as well as her baby. That is his future. He's a little cold right now. It's really windy and cold today. But you know, that's not something we want to give to anyone or sell to anyone. That's not something we would ever sell to anyone. So that's where they'll go. They'll live a great life, and then off to market they go. And of course, some of these other ram lambs, they'll go to market as well. You know, we want to keep the best for breeding stock as well as to sell to other people. But if they aren't making the cut, overall, they go to the sale barn and go be someone's dinner or lunch or anything like that. Just something productive. We just know that they lived a good life and had everything that they could want: mineral, feed, water, good hay, shelter. So they live a great life, and they get to give back to us at the end of it. I'm about to shoot you. So spring is on its way, I think. Horses always know. And they're starting to shed off. So hopefully we don't have any more cold snaps. Harvey will be 2 in June, and he needs a spa day. He gets these fairy knots all the time, overnight. And yeah, so that's Harvey. He's eating some hay, his breakfast. But hopefully this is true. Usually the horses are right when they start slicking off. It's not gonna be so cold. They know better than us. Can't wait to see if he keeps his dark color or what he does this year. Every year's a little different with him being so young. So much hair. So this Spanish goat is drinking from the freeze miser. You can see the ice. It's supposed to leak if it's frozen out. And so you can see there's a spot in the trough that they can stick their heads in. This goat's with some sheep right now. And the sheep, they stick their heads in and they drink from the ice water. But the groundwater is a little warmer, even though it's cold. And she is drinking that freeze miser water that's a little bit warmer instead of trough water. It's just crazy. 'Cause that's pretty smart. That's very smart to do. So just wanted to note that. I saw her doing that and I was like, what is she doing? And I realized she'd rather, see, there you go, you can see the freeze miser, it's leaking a little. And there's still water in that trough. I busted it this morning, but it's gonna be cold. So it's really froze over. Alright, here we are. I just moved Beth up here. There's netting up here to keep the goats in a small area, but I have it opened right there, so there's a walkthrough. And so we've been having an issue with deer, and they are coming in here and eating all our grass, our wheat and stuff. We just had a frost, but we're having an issue with them doing that, especially over here. And normally we have electric netting around this. The deer kind of tore it down, and the pigs. And normally we really don't have pigs over here, but for whatever reason they've started. But funny story, because I wanted to make sure Beth has water and then I'll bring her a feeder. I had this all unhooked from when it froze, and I had forgotten I had undone this and let the water out of this part so it didn't freeze and bust. And I hooked it all up, didn't even go to check that because I forgot. Crank that thing open, and next thing I know, my entire boot is now full of water. So that's fantastic. So I'm gonna have to go change my shoes because I'm lugging around a good amount of water in my boot now. But yeah, so she'll have water, and then we've got her little jump gate over here for food. So that's what we're doing. We're putting dogs around, and there's no goats with them or anything, but it'll keep those deer off because we need these pastures for when we have babies born, and honestly just want the deer to stay off my property as much as possible. So then I have another dog over here. Worm is over there on all of that. And so I don't know where he's at right now. He's probably just checking it all out because everyone's getting moved around, and you can see I've been taking this down. I need to continue taking that down because that's what the deer have done. So I've taken down the other side, and now I need to continue this way. But yeah, over the whole deer situation. So there's what we're doing. Oh, the door closed. Taking back dogs to pens that haven't had them in a while because my grass is looking amazing, but it won't if there's 8 to 10 deer on it every single night. So that's what we're doing. This is something I have to keep an eye on since we haven't kept this fence hot all the time. The deer have slipped through it and moved those wires that are just leaning on this to make a little angled turn. So since the fence is on, I just take my foot with my boot, push it down. So that way there's not a giant gap. But you could tell the deer had slipped through this since it's been off and pushed these wires up and down. So now it's back to where it should be, so that way no goats and or dogs would want to get through it.